Today I'm going to give you some heads up and points to ponder that you must think as an individual, that what is your part or your place in the society. Today's lecture is majorly focused on society, individual and their relationship. Sociology is about two things. The two main stakeholders of sociology are individual, the other one is society. And their relationship. Society is a human construct, a construct of mind, a construct of people making other people to live in a certain way and pass it on to the next generation. Students, today we are in sociology class, and this video is for all the Cambridge students who are actually taking sociology as subjects. The AP and IB students can also take help from this, but this video is specifically for sociology A-level students, but IGCSE and O-level sociology students can also take help from this, because today I'm going to discuss the basic and key ideas of sociology. And today I'm going to give you some heads up and points to ponder that you must think as an individual, that what is your part or your place in the society, and who actually made this socio-ecological systems, who made the institution of family, where did the religion come from, or where did the media come from, or who made this system of families, where are these relationships coming from, the siblings, the social rules, husband, wife, legal institution of family. These are the questions that we must be thinking about and finding our place into the society, understanding our social rules and duties. And except from that, today's lecture is majorly focused on society, individual and their relationship, but this video is actually the first video in the series of sociology sessions for A-levels. So today, mostly I'm going to focus on two concepts, that is sociology and culture. But before that, I'm going to give you a very brief and very in-depth understanding of the word sociology. Sociology is about two things. The two main stakeholders of sociology are individual, and the other one is society. So basically, it's also a riddle as well. Who came first, individual or society? So without the human beings or any individual, the society cannot be formed. And whenever an individual is born into the society. So who came first? By getting the references from religious manuscripts or scriptures, let's suppose Quran, Bible or Torah. So we can have this answer that the human came first. But if we for one second neglect this fact that we are not given the manuscripts by the Holy God, then we must have to ponder this question: who came first? Because in animals, there are also social systems. In all the species that are moving about you in your habitat, there are social systems. Ants have their own social norms. They have chosen a queen. Bees have a queen in which everybody is following. So where does this come from? Is this a living organism's instinct to form a society? Or the society is a natural concept that every individual has to adopt ultimately, or have to and have not to choose but have to accept? Yes. These are the questions that need to be in mind whenever we are taking sociology as a subject. Because only then we can understand our social roles, only then we can understand our social duties, and only then we can understand our relationship with the macro systems that we are living in, right? So today I'm going to move in a very steady way to make a clear understanding of individual, society, their relationship, and specifically two core concepts: society and culture, right? So let's begin with the end in mind. So sociology basically is composed of two main stakeholders: the individual and society, and their relationship. Now, relationship between individual and society gives us different things like norms, traditions, customs, conventions, mores, taboo, deviance, crime, socially accepted or socially unaccepted behavior. These all things all come together when individual and society interact with each other. Because if an individual is bifurcated from the society, then they are not going to have any interaction with each other, or in simpler terms, if one individual is not going to have any kind of direct or indirect, inter or intra impact or dependence on each other, then there is going to be no social expectations or no crimes as well. So, or no such kind of legal bondings or no such kind of responsibilities or duties. Why would a father need to earn for his son? Why would a mother need to child bear or child rear their infants? Why? Why would a husband would be has to have this semblance of respect and economic and financial support to his wife? And same goes for the wife or her husband. Why? Why would a sibling is responsible for the actions or have to teach their younger siblings about how to live life, how to sit, how to stand, how to talk, right? Because we live in relationships, and these relationships create the concepts, those concepts that we hold in our bags or our shoulders and move about in the society, right? For example, norms or traditions or symbols or languages. Now, and there are many more actually, but I've just wrote down the basic ones so you just can move further quickly. Yeah. Individual, when born in society, is not an empty shell actually, is born with some social bag and baggage, which is called status. Now, you will be wondering, what can an individual who is just born will be having a status? The answer is yes. The status he has with him is coming from the labels which are preset with him. For example, if he is born in a Hindu family, then he is a Hindu. If he's born in a Muslim family, then he is a Muslim. So he or she, what chromosomes he has? Does he has XX chromosomes or XY chromosomes? Right? So his sex, his religion, or his caste, or anything associated to him or labeled with him or ascribed to him at the time of birth counts as his status, which is called ascribed status. The status that he has nothing done to achieve. It's given to him, right? And that's why he has to have certain kind of position in the society. For example, if a person is born in a poor family, then he belongs to a poor class. It's not his choice. He has to live by that. He has to adopt the norms of the class, which is, as in the Marxist terms we say, the proletariats, the employees, the poor class. And if you're born in a rich family, then there's nothing that you have done about it. You'll just have to carry the lifestyle of riches, right? Yeah. So this status that when you're born is given to you in terms of religion, in terms of your economic class, in terms of your culture or social capital, is actually your ascribed status, which is actually labeled with you, right? And second type of status is achieved one. Now, this status is something which actually an individual works upon. They have to really earn it, because you might have seen people asking their children what you're going to become in future. What are you going to do with your life? Are you going to become a doctor or engineer, artist, filmmaker, whatever, right? And their answer is like that, I'm gonna be a pilot, I'm gonna be a doctor. And do they really become doctors by just saying that? No. They really have to work hard. They have to adopt certain norms and certain practices. They have to adopt a certain curriculum. They have to clear certain examinations. They have to live in that certain environment and adopt their rules, adopt their norms, adopt everything related to that, work on it, and only then they can achieve that status. So that is, for example, the status associated with professionals or the person who has worked on something and then eventually has achieved that thing which he was not actually born with. For example, Eminem was not a born rapper. Dua Lipa, she's a singer. She was not a born singer. Or we have many other examples. Dwayne Johnson, was he a born wrestler? No. Okay, let's talk about some scientific people. Nikola Tesla, was he inventing electricity at the time of his birth? The answer is no. What about Einstein? And what about all other people that have contributed something in their profession, right? And for that profession that they have contributed, they were not actually born with it. They achieved it by following certain norms, rules, practices. So an individual is surrounded by two things: an ascribed status that he is born with and an achieved status that he earns himself, right? And then comes the second concept, which is very crucial to me and obviously in sociology as well, is the concept of society. Society is actually, when we talk about, let me ask you people and give you, a 5-10 second a brainstorming, moment for you guys. What do you think can society be? Society is something with buildings, or something, you're living with people and, having a certain garden, swimming pool facilities, right? Roads, infrastructure. No, it's not society. Society is something that cannot be seen and cannot be touched. You need to understand that. What we are talking about, things that infrastructure, buildings, road, they're all are physical, can be seen, can be touched. Society is something else. Society can only be experienced. Society is a human construct, a construct of mind, a construct of people making other people to live in a certain way and pass it on to the next generation. Society is something where people live with common beliefs. Society is something where people have a common culture. Society is something where there are institutions. Let me tell you what an institution is. What do you think an institution is? Any organization having number of employees and having an organizational structure and doing some business activity? No. An institution is one which actually is a governor of behavior. A governor of behavior which actually creates rules, norms, values, and shared strategies for individuals based on interactions. And those interactions, by continuous interactions, there comes iterations in those interactions, right? So basically, institutions are the ones who actually govern the rules, norms, values produced during the interactions of the individuals. So you need to understand that. Now, institutions are not some companies or organizations. They're governors of behavior. They're the ones who tell you how to behave, who are actually going to tell you what to do, what not to do, what is acceptable, what is permitted, and what is not acceptable, what is punishable, what is rewardable, what is going to pay you off, what is not, right? For example, justice system is an institution. A family is an institution, right? Religion is an institution because all these institutions are informing you, they're telling you what is rewardable and what is punishable, what is permitted, what is restricted, how you are actually going to do a certain thing. For example, it's our basic practice. Our parents inform us, tell us, educate us, make us learn how to sit on the table and eat in the right order. Do they not? Right? So family is an institution. They tell us what is our role as an individual, what is our role as a son or as a daughter, or what is our role with each other as siblings, what behavior is acceptable in the society and what behavior is decelerated or is not so well appreciated in the society. What are those things which are accepted in that society we are living in, and what are those things which are unacceptable in the society that we are living in? But you need to understand that society cannot actually legally punish the individual. It's the state's leverage, or I would say in a more sophisticated way, it's actually the state's authority who can actually punish legally or enforce something legally, not the society. Society is a pressure group, I would say, but it actually creates the sense of, I would say, goodness or badness in you for doing or not doing something, because it is directly associated with rewards and sanctions for your actions that you're going to do. And how does society do these things? How does society do these things? Does society come to your home, knock at your door and tell your family? No. Society works through institutions. And there are basically two institutions that society works from: the formal and informal institutions. Formal and
informal institutions, and formal institutions include education, media, religion, and globalization. Whereas informal institutions include family, media, and religion. And you can notice that media and religion are the ones who actually fall in both categories. They are both formal and informal institutions. And as of the meta-modern era that we are living in as of 2025, we are living in an era which is called meta-modernism, right? These two institutions have over-socialized and completely dominated the population of the world, especially the youth. And basically all kind of holy or unholy wars, or all kind of acceptable and unacceptable trends are basically stimulated by these two institutions. And we are going to critically study these two institutions in the future lectures. Yes. So I was telling you, basically society is equal to formal plus informal institutions, which means, and if we take a union of these institutions, we get family plus education plus media, religion, and globalization. These are the 5 institutions actually which form a society, right? And these 5 institutions are responsible for what? Why? Why do we need institutions, and why would society through these institutions want to, need to, so desperately want to and need to tell you how to live, tell you how to do things? It's a question, it's a very important question. It's $1 million question. Why? It's the basic debate between two sociological school of thoughts, the interactionists and the structuralists. So when society wants to tell you, when society thinks, society can only better tell you how to live, instead of individual himself letting the liberty and taking their own will, their own choice in account and living the way they want to. Instead of that, society tells you what is right, what is wrong, instead of letting it on the individual to decide what is right or wrong, right? There's a difference, because if according to one perspective of sociology called structuralism, society has to shape, and it is mandatory for the society to shape, organize, control, manage the individuals. Is because, why? Again, why? Because society must have social order. Only social order can be achieved when society, through these institutions, tell, control, manage, and make the individuals learn what? Next question. The culture of that very society they live in. Only then we can have the law-abiding citizens, rule followers, the ones who are following the norms of the society, the ones who are actually replicating, or the ones who are actually reproducing or intergenerationally transferring and accepting and letting this process going on of norm following, of traditions, of customs, right? So culture We can say that is the soul of the society. Culture is the soul of society, like constitution is the soul of the state. So, if you understand by that, every society has a distinct, a unique culture which actually makes possible for the society to flourish, to live on, to live timelessly. If the culture finishes, if the culture is fabricated, if the culture is underwent hybrids, if the culture is actually undergone by fabrications or some kind of you would say changes, then it is not the actual society that you were living in. Yes, that is the whole idea of structuralism and society, which actually tells the society is a static concept. It has to remain in its original form. And to protect that integrity of the society and the soul of the society, which is culture, the family, education, media, religion, and globalization has to step up and make the individuals, the younger generations, learn what norms, symbols, customs, beliefs, values, and language of the society, right? Norms, I would repeat, norms, beliefs, values, customs, and traditions, not the least, language of the society, right? So, norm, belief, language, customs, symbols, values are equal to culture of that society. And in the next lecture, we are going to discuss what culture is and what are its basic elements meant, and will express and in detail study all these concepts. Thank you so much.